Hi, Bad is King. Welcome. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Xylo. Welcome. Hello, hello. Hi. Hello. Hi, guys. How's it going? So I got about 30 minutes. And do I believe in dragons? Not really. Although I have read, I know 2 in 1 day, right? We're going to round out the month pretty good. I have read the Game of Thrones books. So I do like those dragons. They're fun. Thank you, Jesse. Haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Mary. Welcome. Hi, Bella. Welcome. So I figured I have about 30 minutes before I have to do a meditation, and I thought I'd do a last-minute Q&A. Say Thrones. Game of Thrones. Thrones. Is that weird? Does it sound weird because you're Canadian and I'm Thrones? Game of Thrones. Hi, Spike. Hello. I've never seen it. Yeah, I've never seen the actual show Game of Thrones because I can't watch TV. Limey Hearts, thank you. Yes, thank you for the green hearts. Been busy working and reading. Yeah, you've been reading a lot. I've seen all the books that you've been buying. Yeah, I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I read all the books, so yeah. I heard the show's really good, but it's extremely graphic and violent, so I wish I could watch it though. The books are very detailed. They're really, really good, but sometimes they can be a little tedious. Yeah. Yes, the show is ahead of the books, but I kind of already know what happens in the new. Oh, hi. I kind of already know what happens because I read something in a magazine. So that was my sister. Some people can't read. Some people with Lyme disease have a hard time reading. It's tough to get through those books. Is it better than Spartacus? I have not seen Spartacus. Hodor? Is it Hodor? Or, I don't know how to pronounce it. Now I'm self-conscious about my pronunciation. Yeah, so I've heard it's a pretty good show. So I wish I could watch it. I really wish I could watch it. So I just thought I'd pop on here because today's my last day. I already did my scope earlier today. So if you guys haven't watched it, go ahead and watch the replay. Usually I go for a walk around this time, but I'm really tired today. For some reason, I'm just not feeling that good. And I've been doing laundry all morning, so I'm a little tired. So I thought either I'd pop on here for some Q&A or talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. The Lyme transmitted another way. I believe I got bitten by a tick. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I do believe it came from a tick. You can't really get Lyme disease any other way, as far as we know right now. I have not, but actually, now that you say audio, I'm thinking, why don't I just get the audiobook of The Secret? I don't know why I didn't think of that before. Hi, Shane, welcome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have it on audiobook, so I can just, I should probably just get the audiobook. Or the actual book, You saw The Secret. Yeah, Jesse is a big fan of The Secret. All right, Xylo, I'll see you later. Take care. Don't make fun of my accent. Yeah. Well, they have not completely proven that it's an STD. Yes, I can also listen to the audio on the TV. This is something that I actually read. Yeah, that's what he told me, that it's good for positive thinking. It has not been proven to be an STD. I saw a post on Facebook the other day that said that a new study that came out strongly suggests that it could be an STD. Now, the reason I have an issue with that, all of my friends' husbands with Lyme have it. Well, yeah, they could have both gotten bitten. If they've been living together in the same area, they both could have gotten bitten. But the reason I don't like that they're spreading that kind of information, because once I read the article, it can. I believe there are studies that prove that it can be passed in utero. But the whole STD thing, I read the article, and it was a study in a lab strongly suggests that it can be an STD. It strongly suggests. So there's no actual proof. There wasn't any actual anything going on there. It was a study in a lab that strongly suggests that it could be an STD. Now the reason exactly, there's no concrete proof. You know, nothing happened between two people that actually transmitted it from one person to the other. It's just a study that strongly suggests. Now the reason I have a problem with this is because, you know, let's go back to the whole AIDS epidemic. There you go. You've been married 20 years and he does not have it. I was married as well and he does not have it. Facebook is an expert on getting rid of Lyme. Yeah, you can send me the link if you want. Everybody's an expert, you know, so I wouldn't completely believe what he says. But anyways, I was married as well. Bella married as well. Our partners do not have it. The reason that been tested 6 times doesn't have it. Yeah. So, right. I mean, there's always the what if. He could be, you know, a pretty decent doctor, I guess. You could send me the information. I don't mind having the information sent to me. But again, let's go back to the AIDS epidemic and all of the propaganda that was spread and all of the misinformation that was spread. And now you had the gay community was totally marginalized. You know, they were treated like they were these, you know, lepers, and people didn't want to get near them because they felt that AIDS could be transmitted, you know, just by looking at them, basically, by looking at gay people specifically. Now we know that it's not just a disease that afflicts gay people. Now we know that you can't get it off of a toilet. You can't get it from, you know, touching a person or spit or whatever. It really, really has to be, you know, I mean, it's sexually transmitted. You know, it's not what people thought it was, but because there was a lot of that propaganda spread, you had the whole gay community being ostracized. And, you know, I think that's even why a lot of, there can be spirochetes and spit. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can get Lyme disease from somebody's spit. Hi, Brian. Welcome. So, you know, to have that kind of I don't want to say it's misinformation. Hi, Joey. To have that kind of information on the internet, all it does is make people more afraid. Yeah, exactly. And AIDS is now under control. It's under control, but it's also, we know so much more now. I'm gonna try to keep doing some periscopes every now and then, but today is the last day of Lyme Awareness Month, so you might not hear from me for a while. I need to take a vacation. But, you know, now we're gonna have the same thing happening to people with Lyme disease, and I've seen, you know, a certain level of hysteria on, I'll miss you guys too. I'll be on. I won't like completely disappear. You know, I see it. I actually saw in the LA Lyme group on Facebook, people were like, oh, you know, I don't want to get into a relationship because, you know, I could spread this, and 2 people with Lyme disease, it's just going to be such a horrible thing. We're just going to keep spreading the infection back and forth and this and that. And the amount of fear and the amount of, I usually never scope at this time, but I had a little bit of extra time because I didn't go for my walk. So I decided to do an extra session today. But to have that kind of fear, especially among people that are already sick, and making them feel like they can't even get into a relationship with anybody because they have this disease, I mean, that's such a horrible thing. It's such a horrible thing to do to people that already feel bad enough as it is. So, you know, these studies that claim, you know, that, you know, it strongly suggests that it could be an STD, well, don't strongly suggest, prove it. Yeah, it makes you afraid, and it makes you think to yourself, you know, I can't even be with my partner, my husband, you know, and there's no proof. There is no proof. It just strongly suggests. If something strongly suggests, that's not enough proof for me. You know, it's not, and of course, if your partner does have it, if you see a lot of couples, I know that there are entire families that have Lyme disease. That doesn't necessarily mean that they gave it to each other or that the mother passed it on to her children. Exactly. Strongly suggests is not proof. It also doesn't mean that the mother passed it to her child in utero. If they live in the same area, if the kids play outside in the same areas that the parents are outside in, or if they have a dog that's going in and out of the house, they could very well have gotten it from the animal or from being outside. So, I do think there is more proof, though, that it can be passed, in utero. But again, this sort of like fear-mongering is it's just not good, and it's more believable that it could be passed down to, a baby that's inside your body. That makes a little bit more sense. Well, that's what we were talking about right now, is that there was a study that I saw online on my Facebook. Thank you, Brian, for inviting followers. There was a study on Facebook, and it was being shared by a Lyme organization, saying that there was a study in a lab that strongly suggests that Lyme could be an STD. And I don't think it's right to be spreading that kind of information because, number one, it was in a lab, and it only strongly suggests. It strongly suggests. It's not proving that it is. You're not using two human beings to prove this. Will ticks ever not have it? I doubt that they'll, I think all bugs carry diseases. I mean, there's, what is it, the Zika thing, and that other one in Africa that I totally have, it's that real horrible disease. Bugs carry diseases. They're always going to carry diseases. Animals carry diseases. They're always, animals carry rabies. They're always going to carry that. It's just part of, malaria is another one that's transmitted. Zika. No, that other really, really bad one that, oh my God, I totally forgot. It was in the news last year that a bunch of people died from it, and it actually got carried over into the United States. What is it called? It's a really bad, it comes from Africa. Ebola, there you go, Ebola. Thank you, McFitz. H1N1 is another one. Animals carry diseases, we're just catching these diseases, unfortunately. Yeah, Ebola's horrible. But it's, bugs are always going to carry this kind of stuff. It's all about prevention. It's all about management, and it's all about also taking care of ourselves. Lyme is technically not curable. Even in people that go into remission, they still have it, and they can still get it again. It can lie dormant and then come back. But it is treatable. Unfortunately, the treatment didn't work for me, but it does work for a lot of people. And I think there is substantial evidence that a lot of people have gotten better on long-term antibiotics. There is evidence of that. Not everybody gets better, but there is proof because there are doctors that are treating people successfully on long-term antibiotics. But then you have a study in a lab that strongly suggests that it could be an STD. Well, you're not using actual human beings, that are coming to doctors' offices saying, what, my husband or my wife didn't have this, and now they have it. You need to ask for all of those blood tests, and especially before you start treatment. I would recommend getting all of the genetic testing and blood work, even if it costs money, because, it's going to cost you more money in the long run. Getting genetic testing done may affect your decision as to whether you even want to go through long-term antibiotics or find an alternate therapy to help you. I do believe that it can get better. But also too, I believe that it causes a lot of other issues like neuropathy, like, different issues. Thank you, Bella. I'm thankful for you guys as well. You guys have been here, have stuck by me this month. I do think a lot of the symptoms can be reversed. The problem with Lyme disease is the fact that there's not a lot of research behind it. It's very expensive. All of the treatments for it are very, very expensive. Yes. Yeah, I do keep searching, and I do keep trying to investigate different types of therapies. Hi, Jessica. Welcome. Thank you for inviting followers, Mary. Thank you. I should be a public speaker. Yeah, I'm going to do some other stuff, some different things. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. It is my last day. I don't know if I have neuropathy. I don't have the traditional burning in my hands and feet, but I do have something else on my side here where I feel like the muscles are almost paralyzed. And I've never had that examined. And that's the one thing that I really want to figure out this year. Just learned how today. Okay, it's okay. Thank you, Jessica, for inviting followers. So, but it's just, Lyme is just a very expensive disease to treat. And until there is more awareness raised, then, treatment is not going to be covered by insurance. That's the biggest issue. These treatments are not covered by insurance, and people are going without treatment because they can't afford it. I'm in debt up to my ears, and my treatment was covered by insurance because my doctor figured out how to get it covered. I'm on YouTube as well. Yeah, I have my previous periscopes on YouTube. The link is in my bio. So, when you're dealing, AIDS was the same way. It was a disease that nobody wanted to believe. Yes, you lose everything with this disease. All your money, all of your sanity, your home, your spouses sometimes. But AIDS was the same thing. Treatment for AIDS is very, very expensive. But it wasn't until people started dying that they started to take it seriously. Yeah, you spend all of your savings. I'm maxed out on my credit cards, basically. I'm trying to pay that off, by the end of this year, which is why I don't want to seek another Lyme literate doctor because it's too expensive, and I've spent already a lot of money. Thank you for the shares, you guys. Thank you. So, until the treatment becomes more affordable, or until, people start dying, or there's a huge movement, which is another problem. How can you have a huge movement of a bunch of people that are disabled and sick? You can look at any of the Lyme disease rallies. I'm also on Twitter, Hotson100384. Hi, Mr. Techroid. Thank you. Thank you for inviting followers. So, you have all these sick people that can't really campaign for themselves. If you ever look at a Lyme rally, it's like, 10 people because everybody else is sick at home and disabled. So, how do you do that? How do you raise awareness when we're all stuck at home? So that's the tough part. But, until we basically, raise, a fuss over this disease, until we start really getting loud about it, and like I said, people start dying, or people start becoming really irate over this, and speaking out. We have a couple celebrities that are starting to speak out about it. Until that really happens, we're not really going to get anywhere with it. Yes, let's get loud. So that's why treatment is just so complicated. Studies are not being done or conducted to see if long-term antibiotic therapy is really effective, even though it has helped a lot of people. There are no official studies that have been done. And other alternative treatments as well. Of course, there's people that have successfully treated Lyme with herbal supplements, and things like that. And of course, there's not going to be any studies on that, especially in the United States, because, we're built on big pharma, which is just drugs and, pharmaceuticals. So obviously we're not going to test the alternative therapies. Yolanda, Ali, Avril, and Thalia are really good representatives. But also, too, once some of them get better, they kind of disappear. And that's what I've noticed is that some of the celebrities that are successfully treated for it and don't really have ongoing or severe symptoms, they kind of stop talking about it. Cool. Yes. Excellent, Joey. Enjoy your dinner. Once these celebrities kind of go into remission, they kind of disappear and they don't talk about it that much. The dreaded gene, it doesn't make the antibiotics ineffective. It just makes you feel worse. You don't detox properly from the drugs. But like I said, everybody is different. I'm sure that there's people that have the dreaded gene and they go through therapy just fine. I think there's just a lot of different factors. There's a lot of, everybody's genetics are different. Everybody responds differently. There's no way of knowing. I never would have known how I was going to respond to it unless I would have done it. And I don't regret having gone through it. Is it the mutation gene? Well, there's multiple different genes. There's one that makes you susceptible to mold. I think there's like 4 or 5. And I just tested positive for multi-susceptible, but I know that there's a bunch of different ones. There could be another one in there. I don't know. I don't know too much about it. Doctor says you got the MTH. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I don't know if it's the same one, but I've heard of that. I don't, like I said, I'm not, there are some people in the Lyme community that are extremely well-versed and well-read when it comes to all of the little details. I'm sort of one of those people that, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, and I don't care to be. I do research the risks and the benefits of treatment. I chose to go with treatment. Yes, we do more research together. I chose to go with treatment just judging by how sick I was. It didn't work, but I signed up for it, and that was my choice. I'm just happy that I got the freedom to choose what treatment I want. And I think with Lyme disease, that's what it's about, is having the freedom to choose to have treatment and to have treatment covered by insurance. It's not necessarily does the treatment work or not. I mean, it has been shown to work on about 60% of people. But it's also our choice, to say, you know what, I want to go through treatment and I would like my insurance to cover that. But, I don't research this disease much. I don't talk about it much. This month was the most I've ever talked about it. Long-term antibiotic treatment. And I really, that's what I paid my doctor for. Yeah, insurance, my doctor got it covered. But of course, your doctor is going to have to know how to diagnose it. You don't diagnose it as Lyme disease. You diagnose it as something else. And she was able to get it covered. And these doctors will do that for you. If they are really good doctors, they will figure out how to get it covered. But, that's what I'm paying my doctor for. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I see a lot of people with Lyme disease that believe that they can figure this out, that they can somehow doctor themselves. And yeah, it does wreck your gut. It's really hard on your GI tract. That's what I paid the doctor for. And, I'm not an ignorant person, but I don't want to know, I don't care to be a doctor. I don't care to know the science behind it or even the politics and the controversy. All I know is that I'm sick, and that's the bottom line for me. And I also see some people with Lyme disease have a good doctor now that does not charge tons of money finally. Yeah, there's some doctors that don't charge a lot of money. Antibiotics will mess with your GI tract. I don't want to go down that road of, I want to know everything about Lyme. I know what I know because it lives in my body, but I don't care to know any more than what I have. And I do see some people that, it becomes their entire life, and we have to remember that this disease is not our entire life. I don't want to dedicate it messes up your, and even cancer treatment, chemotherapy does the same thing. It'll mess up your entire, GI tract and everything because it kills everything. I want to still be a person, and to still live my life without having to constantly focus on this disease. And I see people with Lyme disease that, it consumes their entire life. Thank you for inviting followers. I actually met with somebody last year who I met in a Lyme disease support group. And, on top of the fact that he was refusing to follow his doctor's, treatment, yes, we need other interests as well. This guy refused to follow what the doctor was telling him. We had the same doctor at the time, and he just absolutely refused to do whatever she said. But then he was obsessing over every little detail about his Lyme disease. And looking over his blood tests and talking about genetic issues and talking about this and talking about that. But then the doctor, he refused to even wear his oxygen, or, and I'm thinking to myself, what is the point? You're paying this doctor. What is the point of paying a doctor if you're just going to be your own doctor? If you're just going to say, no, I don't care what she says. I'm going to do my own thing. I did everything my doctor told me to do, even though it was expensive, even though I sometimes didn't trust her. I did what she told me to do. That way, at the end of the day, she couldn't say I didn't listen. And I did everything she told me to do. So I know that I wasn't the one that made the error with treatment. It was either she made, a wrong decision, or it just didn't work. But I do see a lot of patients with Lyme disease, and probably with other illnesses, that refuse to follow what doctors tell them to do, and then they continue to complain and research and, and obsess over this. And it's like, if you're not going to do what your doctor's telling you, then, then what's the point? So I don't research the illness. I researched it in the beginning when I first got diagnosed. I read what I read. I'm not a doctor. At the end of the day, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to question what the doctor is doing. I'm either going to agree to treatment or not agree to treatment, and that's it. I consented to treatment. I went through it. It didn't work for me, but it was my decision, and I had the freedom and the choice to make that decision. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what I wanted, was just to be able to have that option. The problem comes when you don't have that option. I don't have the option to have any other different kinds of treatment because my insurance won't cover it. So that's when I start having a problem, is when our choices and our freedom to choose is taken away. And that's the difficulty when it comes to Lyme disease. That's where it becomes complicated, is that there are a lot of different treatments, there are a lot of different medications and things that could help, but Lyme disease technically doesn't exist, so you can't use that diagnosis. You either have to lie or use an alternate diagnosis, or you just have to pay out of pocket for, the medication. So, I think that's where people get very upset when it comes to this disease, because insurance should cover it. And that's why you have such a huge backlash and a huge divide between insurance companies, the Infectious Disease Society of America, and then ILADS. You have all of these differences of opinion. Yes, people with cancer, my uncle had cancer a couple years ago, and they gave him 3 options. He could have radiation, he could have surgery, or he could have like chemo or something. Hi, Stubby, welcome. When somebody has cancer, they have all those options. They have at least 3 options: chemo, radiation, or surgery. Why should it be any different for any other disease? Because it comes down to money. It comes down to cost. So, it is all about money at this point. Insurance doesn't want to pay for treatment, and doctors make their money from insurance, so they have to keep insurance companies happy. Yes, it sucks very, very much. It is. It's all about money. It's all about money, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I do think that there are other issues, though, on the other side of the fence with actual trained Lyme literate physicians. Now you have these Lyme literate physicians who are all competing to be the top Lyme physician, and to prove that long-term antibiotics do help people. So my phone is dying. So if this cuts off, my phone died. You have these Lyme literate physicians who all want to be the big Lyme doctor, and they're avoiding patients that are difficult to treat and taking all of the patients that are easy to treat and that will respond to antibiotic therapy. So now you have a small group of patients that are going to be put to the side, like myself and like Bella, and maybe like some of other people in here. We're going to be put to the side by trained Lyme physicians so that they can increase their credibility with patients that are easily treatable. And they know the science behind this disease, and they know which patients are going to respond well to therapy. because they know the science. And that's the other side of the fence. You know, you have a lot of people with Lyme disease that say, you know, my doctor saved my life, my doctor did this, my doctor did that. And those are the patients that these doctors love. And those are the patients that, you know, go to court and defend these doctors. But then you have the small group of patients like us that don't respond to treatment, and we get set to the side and we're told that we're crazy and that, you know, we're doing things wrong. So there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. Yes, I'll definitely be back. Like I said, I'm just going to take a little break. I probably should get off my phone though, because it's already 5 o'clock. But I just really appreciate you guys being here this month, and for all the hearts and all the shares and all the follows and everything. And I hope this was beneficial for you guys. It was really hard for me to talk about it because I never really talk about my illness. But, you know, I really appreciate, yes, thank you so much. And I like I said, I hope it benefited you guys a lot as well. So check out my YouTube channel. Today's the last day to donate on my You Caring page. Check out my blog and all my other stuff. And like I said, I'll be posting to YouTube. I'll do a scope whenever I post to YouTube, and I'll let you guys know what I'm doing. So thank you guys. Thank you for everything. It was a really good month, and I will see you again soon.